Hi, this is Alexia Tsotsis, and I'm here at the TechCrunch offices in San Francisco. And I've got with me a very special guest. I've got Susan Lyne in a borrowed office in AOL, New York. Susan is our new CEO of the AOL brand group. It is her first day at work. And we wrote a post about her joining the company last week and didn't get to talk to her in person. So we're really grateful to have her here actually talking to us. Welcome to TechCrunch, welcome to AOL. How's your first day going?
First day's good. I mean, it's now, I don't know, 5:30, 5:45 my time, so I feel slightly exhausted, but it's been great. Good start.
You came from Guilt. Why leave to go do content again? First question. And then second question, the AOL is now three parts. It's the brand group, it's the networking group, and then it's the membership group. Explain the three-pronged approach. And is it a precursor towards it being chopped up further? A lot of people were speculating that it would go to private equity about a year ago. The stock's performing a lot better now, so that speculation has sort of dropped. But this to me seems like putting a CEO as a head of one of these groups sort of can seem like a preparation measure for that sort of split, right?
No, I honestly think it's really because it is three prongs of the company. So if you look at what's now called the membership group, that includes the old access business, but also includes a lot of things that are being done to create a registered user base and to offer services that obviously don't necessarily include access, but can be very valuable to a membership base.
So this is sort of confusing. Let's try to spell it out. It's confusing to readers. It's always being reorged. So I want our readers to understand it. So membership is the dial-up, right? Which is a business
that AOL was built on with some new membership businesses that are offering services that may or may not include anything to do with access. So it could be things that are virus protection and obvious tech-related services, but it could also be things that are not so tech-related, but just benefits of membership. And it's not my part of the business, so I'm not going to be able to give you a whole lot of detail on it. But it's a very profitable part of the business, and
it's the
I
most
think
profitable, right? It's the
absolutely
greatest percentage of our revenue. And what's problematic is it's also our greatest declining business.
Yeah. Although declining at a much lower rate than it ever was before. Now I know that's
sales guys convincing grandmothers in Des Moines not to quit
dial-up.
dial-up.
There are more than that, but much easier for me to really talk about my part of the business.
The second most profitable part of the business, the brands.
Yes, but we need to really. There's so much opportunity there, and I think the question that started this was, why would you want to come back into content? And honestly, I feel like most of my life was in content. I'm passionate about it. There was a period of time where I didn't feel like there were a whole lot of great options to go to. And what's exciting about AOL at this moment is that I think Tim has a very clear strategic focus, and I think the world is turning to recognize again how incredibly valuable great content is, and so it's a good time to be coming to the company as well.
So, and then the third prong is networks, which is our ad network that also serves third parties. So one of the things I'm particularly curious about is why, so that also runs across all the AOL content sites. Why is that?
It does, but it also that's the programmatic selling, and we use it for AOL properties, but we offer the service to advertisers across the internet.
So in our earnings report, is the revenue that comes from AOL networks, as the AOL networks side of the business, is that just third party revenue, or is that also the revenue from sites like TechCrunch and the Huffington Post?
It's the programmatic part of the revenue from our owned and operated sites, but the majority of it is actually third-party revenue that we bring in. We have a very strong programmatic sales platform.
Okay, and that revenue isn't counted as part of brands.
That's not kind of part of brands, no.
Okay. All right, now that we've got the businesses categorized, so what is your plan? I read the memo. I got the memo. I'm going to give you my cell phone number so you guys can call me and let me know off the record when you're making other exec changes, because we like breaking news at TechCrunch. That's our business. So I got the memo. It seemed really vague. A lot of it was bolstering video efforts, making things more episodic. Sort of you brought up your history at ABC. But it didn't come up, there wasn't a strategic plan as far as I could see. So what is the plan? You've got these amazing properties. How do you make all of the properties as amazing? There's tons of things languishing in the AOL brand stable. I'm not going to name names, but they're there.
And honestly, first of all, I'd say it would be incredibly arrogant of me to come in and say on day one I have the answer to fixing everything. I'm really spending a whole lot of time these first couple of weeks just trying to dig in and understand a whole lot better what's here. What that memo was meant to do was not to say here's what the plan is, but it was more to say here are things I think about, right? And here are things that may be valuable to you to know about me as I come in.
Where did you get that 50K blogger number? Where are all these bloggers? Are we paying these people?
That's a real number, apparently. So once you have a platform and you open it up to bloggers, they will come.
Is that counting the Huffington Post though? Because what happened there?
And it's counting, and it's also counting Patch.
Okay, so but the Huffington Post isn't part of the brand group anymore.
The results of the Huffington Post roll up into the brand group, but okay. I was talking about AOL overall, not just the brand group, so yeah, there are over 50,000 or almost 50,000 bloggers. It was 49,000 and X. So I rounded up because it was over 49.5.
So your plan for us, other than Huffington Post, I'm very curious to see what those discussions were with Ariana, because she's also a very, very strong-minded female leader of a blog. But what is your plan for the brands that aren't TechCrunch with no space and the Huffington Post?
I think that's a fair question. Mm-hmm. Look, the Huffington Post and TechCrunch are awesome properties. I mean, they are really great destination brands. People come to them directly, and that's what you want. You don't want to have brands that depend on a homepage or on traffic that is driven to them. And the more we can build up the external traffic to all of our brands, the better off we're going to be. So that's a combination of lots of different things. It's about having great voices. It's about having relevant content, having new content. It's about having events, and by events I mean things even like Disrupt. That's an event. That's a physical event, but it's also something people come to to TechCrunch to read about during that period of time, because they want to understand what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what this incredible convocation of people is driving for conversation. So there's many different approaches we can take, and some of them we'll be looking at across all brands, and some of them we'll be looking at because this is a great solution for a specific AOL site.
Would you agree that one of the things that Huffington Post and TechCrunch share, perhaps the only thing, is the relative editorial independence from AOL? So,
yeah, sure. But look, AOL isn't. It's not the Wall Street Journal. It's not the New York Times. There's no editorial board here that says this is the way that we speak or this is how we think. What I think is more important about those two brands is they have a strong point of view, and they've got people who both founded them and run them, who keep that level of excellence, that focus, and that drive to be not only the best, but also to be unique in some way. And that's the reason that you get so many people coming to TechCrunch every day, every minute. It's why the Huffington Post has the engagement they do. And hopefully we can home grow some of that as well as acquiring it.
So who are your favorite TechCrunch writers? You can't say me.
Arrington, and I know he doesn't post very much anymore, but
he's been posting a lot lately. He posted a lot this weekend.
But still, and I also follow his Twitter feed, which is awesome. I'm really bad with names, so you're gonna realize that the fact that I was able to remember as many Village Voice writers has to do with the fact that was a period of my life when my brain was younger. But I read TechCrunch every day, so honestly, I can't tell you I follow specific writers, but there is not a day when I don't open the app and when I don't read it on my desktop. It's always open.
So thank you. I value that readership. I'm glad it's on the desktop too, because we can monetize it better. But how are you going to get? I mean, it's a daunting task. TechCrunch runs itself. By the way, what happened to my boss? Where's Jay? Is he in the room?
No.
Okay. So he's under you.
I spent I don't know, a couple of hours with him today. So yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So he's under you, focusing on autos, tech, finance.
Yep.
So how are you going to get AOL Autos or Daily Finance or these sites that aren't necessarily destination sites to be the things that you mention in your intro memos or in when you brag about us at sales conferences? How are you guys going to get the sites that don't come with the built-in personality or built-in voice to function as that moving forward? Or are you just going to keep gobbling up properties whose founders get tired or want an exit? Or that's one route, but I think another route is to bring the voices in. You don't necessarily have to acquire sites themselves, but there's a whole lot of people out there who do have strong voices in different categories who you can pull in. In fact, the women's group brought in a great wedding blog about 3 or 4 months ago that has a huge user base. I mean, there's not a bride who does not go to Style Me Pretty, and I know that because I've got nieces who've gotten married in the past year, and every single one that I talk to, not just my nieces, but also my friends' kids, and all of them
there's just no way you skip it, and it's because it does have a strong point of view and it does have a strong voice, and that's blog. So there are lots of different ways to bring a point of view in. I think what you have to get away from is generic content that feels like you could read it almost any place, content that feels like it was produced for either sales purposes or to fill space, essentially. But we all know the difference between a site that actually really has a voice and one that just feels like it's about a subject.
Yes, we do. I think a lot of that is hiring and retaining talent, which AOL's found it sort of hard to do in the past. They're doing a better job of it now. In your memo, you write that you're interested in this sort of episodic programming, like the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue or this kind of stuff. Is TechCrunch going to end up being a part of any of these initiatives, or are you going to keep Eric and I sort of running the same way we are now, which we love? Jay gives us a lot of independence, basically. We don't consult very much with AOL. We're actually sort of happy that you don't talk to us, even though if you'd like to leak me who you're acquiring next, I will definitely take that meeting. Are you going to interfere with TechCrunch? And who's the first 3 properties that you want to get your hands dirty with? And I'm hoping you're not going to say us, because we're doing all right.
TechCrunch, you guys have increased your traffic massively with little or no input from AOL. Any site that is doing as well as you guys are, you don't need help. What I was really talking about with the examples you referred to, like the swimsuit issue, was that we can take a lead from magazines that come up with franchises that actually are repeatable and that consumers come to look forward to, and that essentially sell themselves over time. So you have some of those. I mean, clearly Disrupt is one of them. That's a franchise. And
hackathons.
And you're taking it international now, and you're coming up with a light version of it, and that's exactly, I could have used that example in my memo, and maybe I should have. But most of the things that I would say we should do as a company are things that TechCrunch is already doing.
You told Peter Kafka this morning you guys expected me to post the memo? Are you all sitting there in an office with rubbing your hands together like Mr. Burns? Oh, Alexia and her antics. Is it you?
Not that, but
sorry,
I don't
I'm so predictable.
You can write a memo to a large organization that you are joining without thinking it's very likely that someone will leak it. So not you, Alexia, but that. And by the way, I don't think you were the only person who did, but it's just it's life at this point.
Well, thank you. I think we've got a hard stop now, but welcome to AOL. I'm going to go see you in person next week.
Yeah, thanks. I look forward to that, and I look forward to coming out and meeting everybody, and I promise I won't interfere.
Wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate it.